My name is Jay Tips. I'm from the Bronx, New York, born and raised. I'm on paper, multi-hyphenate, creative, but to me, I'm just a father and just a musician from the Bronx that likes clothes. The savior term came from just me just wanting all the responsibility of like putting my neighborhood on the map. So it was early on in like my rap career, I would just always call myself the Uptown Savior because I felt like I was the one that can, get the neighborhood put on and stuff like that. So, the savior, just responsibility, that's what it means to me. My love for sneakers and streetwear started growing up in just, urban community with young parents. The way they show love is through material. So like those traditions of like a new pair of shoes for back to school, for summer, for Easter and stuff became like what I would look forward to. So I just fell in love with it. I think I was probably around 6 or 7 when I started to realize what I was wearing. And when you start realizing, you start asking for it more. So I think that's where my love began, when I was like 6 or 7. Sneaker culture means a lot of different things because sneakers have grown in so many different directions, whether it's people who still have a love for just collecting or people who have turned it into a business. But to me, it means the world because I was in 12th grade when my English teacher told me sneakers wasn't a career, and now it's, it's cameras and lights in front of me and microphones. So sneaker culture means a lot. And, I think we all in it should be responsible for continuing to keep it growing. I feel like what you wear on a daily basis reflects how you feel on the inside. So I think if you are like very expressive and you wear like a lot of colors and stuff, you intend to be in a good mood and you intend to do this. But so I think personal style means a lot. Like I think you could, no matter what people say, you could tell a lot about a person from like their presentation and the way they kind of put together and just the things they're into. So I think it's like your ID card before you even like get to meet anybody. It's just how you kind of put together. So personal style means everything. I didn't always know that I would become a designer. I think I just reached my height when it came to, or my ceiling when it came to material things and being a consumer. After a while, it was how long do you keep searching for the rarest shoe and the most valuable shoe? I think when you started to see shoes like the best ones just become unobtainable, like as far as price and stuff like that, it was like I needed to find a new medium. Like I need to find something else that makes me happy. And I think when I started trying to make some t-shirts and make some hats and trying to make my own shoes, that's when I was like, you know what, this is feeling that space that I used to have as a kid of like just being so happy of designing my own stuff. My first hat collaboration was actually with a brand called 22. He had like an embroidery machine in his like office, and I used to go there to get like my savior put on like hats I was buying from like Lids or online. And he was just like, yo, I see you moving, I see you got motion and stuff, we should do something. So we linked, I put my savior on his hats, and still to this day, that's like one of the most limited, like non-mainstream collaborations I've ever done. If I ever really seen, like we sold a ton of those hats. So it's just, to me, it was the beginning of how like you just see two different worlds come together on headwear and just go crazy. My first Saucony collaboration came together because I was doing a lot of like focus groups and doing a lot of insight research with different teams over at Nike. And I came across a friend of mine now, his name is Jared, and he just was like, these kids, I don't think they're just numbers on a paper or just some research. Like we stayed in touch, we'll go get dinner, come to New York, we'll hang out and do a lot of different things. And, when I started really making noise with making hats and running around the city and doing pop-ups and stuff, he just showed somebody what I was doing and they wanted to talk, and that person happened to have a high position in Saucony, and they asked me like, yo, if you want to work on some stuff with us, we'd love to work on it with you, and the rest is history. Now we dropping the BBC. I found my inspiration to design from my real life experiences. I've never been the person that could kind of sit in front of the computer and just create things from scratch. I'm more of like the reference kind of person. Like I can see something in the world and I can kind of figure out how to transition that back into a product. And I think that that's been something that has been like my calling card. It's like everything that I do, I kind of took it from just a moment in my life. I put a lot of attention and detail into all my rollouts because I feel like I'm still proving myself. I feel like I'm in an industry where, regardless of like the credit or the acclaim, you know, I do have a road, you know, least traveled. Like, you know, I didn't go to like fashion school. I didn't go to the school for design. I don't have any like background in like any fashion houses or anything that coming from like any crews or anything like that. Like me and my friends, we figured it all out together. So I think when people discover who I am, I want to prove to them that I'm putting in the work. And I think that's just something that I've always kind of been a fan of. Is like, you know, you don't want to have any hole in your story because then that person will pull that apart. They'll be like, well, he does all of this right, but he does this wrong. Kind of like an interview. Like if you ever been on an interview, like they'll just kind of they're trying to rip you to shreds on trying to find like the inconsistency in your character and stuff like that. So to me, I think in this space that I'm at where I'm still trying to impress people and still trying to make people know who J Tips is, I just want my A game to be top tier. Like I want, even if I got to work 12 times harder than everybody else, that's what I got to do because that's what my goal is and that's what my journey is. Because a lot of people front it. Remember who fronted me? I live by that. Like a lot of my friends, they'll try to talk me off the edge when it comes to like the chips that I have on my shoulder about like just grudges and stuff. What's interesting is I don't think I take things personal, but I do remember. Like I do remember that, you know, who didn't have you in the best interest or who didn't choose you first. Like I remember a time we were in like California and someone came over to me and was like, oh, you know, we was in a meeting and they were talking about you. And I was like, oh, that mean you didn't choose me for this project. You chose somebody else if I was in a meeting. So it's just little things like that. I'm very, very, I pay a lot of attention to detail and, you know, I remember. I don't think everybody believed in me to be a designer. And I don't think that they had to. I think, you know, all I needed was just the support from the people that I care about and I love. I think no matter what it is in life, I think a lot of people invest a lot into support and it makes or break them. But at the end of the day, you got to give people something to support. And I think if you're working hard enough, there's a lot of good that comes with hard work. So you'll find your support system and you'll find things like, you know, just because this is your mother and just because this is your brother, that doesn't even mean that that's your core like audience. Like, you know what I'm saying? So if you want them to support you, they may never be into what you do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think when you kind of shake that and you just understand that the world is so big and you kind of limiting yourself and you paying too much attention to the people not in the room, but the people that are in the room, then I think you just kind of like have real tunnel vision and you figure it out. But to sum it up, I don't think everybody's always believed in me, but you know, I had to show them before I expected it. I would tell someone who felt like no one believed in their dream to just stay low and keep firing. I think that you just have to map out what your plan is and you have to stay on course with your goals because there's going to be distractions, there's going to be missteps, there's going to be things that happen along the way and you just got to be bulletproof. You have to honestly just not let anything shake you, especially people's belief, because that's something that you can't take to the bank. You'll start to see the support come in with the dollars and all that stuff. You have to just keep working and no matter what, keep working. Like people may not like this picture, but if the next picture is as good, they're gonna go back and like the one before. So just keep going and they'll figure it out. It's amazing for me to be able to release my third shoe because I think it's a testament of, you know, the reward for good work is more work. And, you know, a lot of people are not even blessed to get one shoe. Now I've been able to get 3. So to me, I just want to keep leveling up and showing people that I'm worthy of the opportunity and that I belong. And, you know, I try to continue to tell an authentic story. In the world of storytelling where like a lot of different brands are trying to tell authentic stories, like the one most authentic to me is my own. And BBC is where I used to spend my entire Foot Locker checks. So it's like if it was ever a time where I can align and figure out how to tie something back into who I am and my identity and what really means something to me, it's like, why not release a shirt Why not release a shoe? Why not have a moment at Billionaire Boys Club? The inspiration behind the design that I did, shout out my guy, Scruff God. We were actually sitting on designs just because I was manifesting one day having a Billionaire Boys Club collab. Like, the helmet logo was like the Yankee logo to me growing up. It just meant so much, and to me, I just wanted to show something that I bring to the table, but at the same time, like in class with BBC, so it's like the flowers in the helmet. It's almost like giving flowers, which is a lot of like the story I try to tell, where it's like, you give me flowers, I give you flowers, just because it's the best way to show love. Like, and I just think that, I just went with the traditional J-Tips colors and my signature, and then we just had some fun. Like, I'm giving BBC some flowers, they're giving me some flowers. The quote, wealth is of the heart and the mind and not the pocket. I think that's always meant something to me, because I feel like, poor is a mindset. I feel like broke is a mindset. I think people kind of pigeonhole themselves sometimes into their struggle. And I believe that quote means, like, you are rich if you have life. Like, you are rich if you have love. You are rich if you have ideas. And that's something that me and my friends, that's our currency. Most of our friendship is like, we know we're capable of good things, and we know we're smarter than most brands that are doing some crazy stuff. Wealth is of the heart and the mind and not the pocket.